Welcome to Whispers of the Night. Tonight, we'll journey through ancient gardens, quiet hillsides, and forgotten apothecaries, all threaded together by one familiar, fragrant presence, lavender. You're invited to step into a soft, slow world where the scent of sleep has been carried through centuries, where science meets memory, and petals become lullabies. Whether you've come here to rest, to dream, or simply to be still, you're in the right place. Let the rhythm of your breath begin to slow. Let your eyes grow heavy, like the last petal falling from a summer stem. And let yourself be carried, gently, calmly, through the lavender fields of dreaming. Feel your body sinking now, as if the earth beneath you has become a soft, cradling bed, as if the stars have drawn a blanket over your shoulders. Your breath moves like a breeze through the fields, in and out. Inhale and feel lavender rise inside you. Exhale and feel the day slip quietly away. There's nothing to hold on to now. No list, no task, no story that cannot wait. Let the stillness deepen. Let scent become silence. Let each petal, each breath, guide you a little further into the quiet. You are safe here. You are wrapped in scent, in memory, in calm, and the night, gentle and patient, is waiting just for you. Dreaming through the lavender fields. The lavender breeze arrives. You walk through a sleepy purple field at dusk, where the air carries the scent of stillness. Lavender petals brush your fingertips, and a soft wind invites your thoughts to slow. From ancient remedies to modern rituals, your journey begins with this timeless flower. Let the dusk settle, and your breathing deepen. The story of scent is about to unfold. There is a hush in the air tonight, the kind of quiet that falls not from emptiness, but from fullness, from the way the earth seems to hold its breath at the close of a long, sun-drenched day, you find yourself standing on the edge of a field that stretches wide and drowsy into the fading light. Rows upon rows of lavender swayed gently in the breeze, each stem topped with a cluster of dusky purple petals. The wind moves slowly here like a lullaby, brushing the tips of the plants so that they seem to breathe together, a whole hillside exhaling in rhythm with the sky. You step into the field, the scent rises to meet you. It is earthy and clean, slightly sweet, with something ancient folded into it, something soft as worn pages and warm as old linen. With each step, you sink deeper into its spell. The horizon glows in watercolor hues, apricot and lavender, twilight and silence, and all around you. Bees drift low like sleepy thoughts, humming their last tune of the day. Lavender has grown in fields like this for thousands of years, not always in neat rows, not always for beauty, but always for its scent. The word itself comes from the Latin lavare, meaning to wash, because long ago the Romans would toss handfuls of it into their bathwater, letting the oils bloom in warm steam. It wasn't just about smelling nice, it was about comfort, cleansing, ritual. Even then, they sensed that lavender held something more than aroma, a kind of quiet wisdom wrapped in fragrance. As you walk between the rows, your fingers trail along the tops of the plants. The tiny blossoms are soft and dry, but resilient, little wells of oil, waiting for touch or warmth to release their perfume. The scent deepens when crushed, growing richer, more alive. It curls into your thoughts, not as an idea, but as a feeling, as if the field itself is offering you peace, one breath at a time. Somewhere nearby, the earth is still warm from the day. You imagine the roots of the lavender reaching down into the soil, drinking in that heat. Lavender thrives in dry, rocky places where the ground does not coddle but challenges it. It is not a delicate plant, despite its color. It is a survivor, and maybe that's part of its comfort, that something so gentle in scent can be so strong in spirit. The science of that scent is unfolding. Even now, inside you, invisible molecules travel into your nose, where tiny receptors receive them like whispered messages. Those molecules, primarily linalool and linalool acetate, are more than perfume. They interact directly with the limbic system of your brain, the part responsible for emotion, memory, and rest. And so, without even thinking, your body begins to respond. Your heart rate softens, your breath grows longer, and your nervous system, so often pulled taut by the hum of daily life, begins to loosen its grip. This is the chemistry of calm, not imagined, not metaphorical, but real, measurable, soothing. Lavender doesn't force you to relax. It invites you, and in the field around you, that invitation is everywhere. As the last light fades, you pause and look around. The sky has turned a soft, velvet gray. Far off, a pair of owls call back and forth, their voices hollow and patient. The lavender plants seem to glow slightly in the half-light, their pale tips catching the cool breath of the evening air. You sit down between two rows, the soil firm beneath you, the plants rising like quiet guardians. At your sides, the wind is slower now, and cooler. It wraps around you like a blanket pulled from an open window, crisp, scented, and just the right weight in the distance. You imagine other places where lavender grows, hillsides in Provence, where families have harvested it by hand for generations. Windowsills in old cottages where bunches dry upside down in quiet kitchens, drawers lined with sachets, teacups steeped with sprigs.bedsides, softened by oil diffusers, glowing gently in the dark. Lavender has traveled far to find you here. It has worn many names: spikenard, nardus, lavandula, and played many roles. A healer, a perfume, a signal to the senses that it's time to let go. You close your eyes, and for a moment you drift beyond the field. The scent carries you backward in time to when a pharaoh's tomb was lined with vials of oil meant to guide the soul forward. In thought, to the flicker of candlelight inside an old apothecary's workshop, or sideways in memory, to your own first moment of rest, the first time lavender found you in sleep. Perhaps it was on a pillow, or in a lotion, or in the air of a quiet evening like this one. You may not even remember, but your body does, your mind, your breath, your senses. They remember what lavender tells them: that you are safe, that you are slowing down, that night is a place of soft arrival above you. The stars begin to shimmer through the veil of dusk. They seem to pulse gently, as if inhaling and exhaling alongside the earth, a rhythm shared by fields and flowers, by breath and brainwaves, by sleep and scent. You stay there a while longer, feeling the hush settle all around you. The lavender sways just slightly in the evening wind, and you begin to wonder, where did this story begin? Not just yours, but lavender's. What hands first gathered its stems? What ancient hearts trusted its scent enough to carry it into temples, tombs, and baths? Who was the first to place it beside a sleeping child and hope for dreams? You exhale, slowly, watching your breath rise and vanish. Lavender lingers in the air, in your clothes, in the spaces between thoughts. The breeze turns once more, not stronger, not colder, just deeper and far away. At the edge of sleep, someone is lighting a lantern in a stone-walled garden where quiet footsteps and ancient rituals wait beneath the moon. Pharaohs, baths, and monastic gardens. Your path drifts through history, from golden jars in Egyptian tombs to steaming Roman baths. Lavender was the perfume of queens and the medicine of monks in garden cloisters. You'll move through sacred rituals, silence, and scent. Time folds softly tonight, like a linen cloth drawn from a cedar chest. You follow its gentle creases backward, letting lavender lead you through the winding paths of memory, not just your own, but humanity's. A breeze of scent carries you across sands and seas, over stone temples and tiled roofs, to lands where lavender's story was written in whispers and flame. Your first stop is ancient Egypt, where the desert exhales heat even in darkness. The moon glows pale above the Nile, casting silver ripples over boats drifting quietly along its banks. In the still air of a tomb chamber, where time feels stretched and hushed, you find small alabaster jars sealed with wax. Inside them, the scent of lavender, perfectly preserved. This is not perfume for the living. These oils were placed with the dead, alongside amulets and prayers. They were meant to comfort the soul as it passed from one world into the next. To an ancient Egyptian, scent was sacred. It was believed that the gods themselves could be pleased, or calmed, or summoned with fragrance. Lavender, blended with frankincense and myrrh, became part of the language spoken between earth and sky. You pause near a wall of carved hieroglyphs, soft torchlight flickering across symbols of flowers and offerings. The cool stone under your hand feels timeless. You imagine a queen preparing for burial, her body wrapped in linen, her resting place adorned with scent. Perhaps lavender clung to her hair or was rubbed into her skin with oils of lotus and almond. It was care, not just ritual, a final gesture of gentleness. As you step out of the tomb, the air shifts again. The dry heat gives way to a warmer breeze. And now you are in Rome, not the bustling city of chariots and togas, but a quieter corner inside a therme, one of curling around marble benches and gilded basins. In this world of water and warmth, lavender is not for mourning, it is for renewal. Romans prized lavender for its cleansing power. They infused it in their baths, rubbed its oil into their skin, letting it float and scent the air with every ripple. Even soldiers took pouches of dried lavender into battle, not for romance, but for wounds. You lower yourself into one of the baths. The water is silky and scented, warmed by a subterranean furnace that hums like a sleeping animal. Lavender seeps into your pores, into your lungs, into the quiet spaces behind your eyes. It is not just a smell, it is a state of being, a letting go. Nearby, a woman gently scrubs her arms with a sponge soaked in fragrant oil. A child giggles as he chases a trail of bubbles. There is no urgency here, no clock, only the rhythm of breath and water. Lavender floats in steam like thought in silence. When you rise from the bath, the stone is cool underfoot, and your skin glows with the scent of repose. You dry yourself with cloth woven from wool, rough but comforting, a grounding texture. Then, with lavender still clinging to your senses, the landscape changes once again. You find yourself on a hillside in medieval Europe. Twilight gathers at the edges of the sky, and below, a stone monastery nestles into the land like it has always been there. Bells toll softly in the distance, and behind its thick walls, sage and calendula. This is no ornamental patch. It is pharmacy, sanctuary, and prayer. Each herb has a purpose. Lavender. Parchment rustles like quiet leaves. A monk dips a quill into ink and writes by candlelight, recording a recipe for a calming tea. Dried lavender, lemon balm, rose petals. Another monk crushes fresh blossoms with a mortar and pestle, preparing a poultice for fever or melancholy. You walk slowly through the stone halls, your footsteps soft against the worn floor. Candles flicker along the walls, their flames trembling gently, like thoughts on the edge of dreaming. The scent of dried lavender fills the air, from sachets tied with twine, from pillows in the infirmary, from robes hung near open windows. For the monks, lavender is more than medicine. It is mindfulness, a reminder to tend the body with care, and the mind with presence. Its fragrance is both a signal and a balm, the beginning of prayer, or the end of suffering. Outside, in the garden, night has arrived. You sit on a bench beneath an archway of ivy and listen to the world wind down. Crickets sing their simple, repetitive song. Somewhere, a pot simmers slowly, perhaps filled with wine, honey, and herbs. The monastery is wrapped in peace, in purpose, and in lavender. And you, too, are wrapped in it. Every moment tonight has added another. A bath, a garden. Lavender has followed you through them all, not just as a scent, but as a quiet presence that has always known how to ease the human heart. It has been a healer, a comforter, a teacher of how to slow down. And now, as your breath grows, so too did it shape invention. There was a moment when scent stopped being only a gift of the field and began to be drawn, drop by drop, through the gentle magic of steam and glass. Roman baths and silent waters. In a room of glass flasks and flickering lamps, lavender dances through distillation. You learn how steam became a tool of preservation, and how dreams were bottled into oils. Alchemists, perfumers, and early scientists all traced the soul of scent through fire and water. Let the rhythm of droplets and invention soothe your thoughts like a lullaby. The scent of lavender drifts through a room that glows in amber light. You stand in the stillness of a place between science and story, where invention hums quietly like breath beneath thought. Curved glass vessels gleam in the shadows. Copper coils spiral like vines, leading your eye in slow loops from flame to flask. This is an apothecary's chamber, or perhaps an alchemist's workshop. It is hard to tell where one ends and the other begins. The air is warm, thick with the mingled scents of rosemary, thyme, and of course, lavender, always lavender. A small flame flickers beneath a glass bulb, heating a bath of water. It simmers gently, not boiling, as if respectful of its contents inside the vessel. Fresh lavender blossoms swirl, their delicate color fading as heat draws their essence upward. And then the magic begins. Steam rises in curls. It passes through a slender pipe, slowly winding into a cooling coil. There, the vapor condenses, and the first precious droplets of oil gather like morning dew. You watch them slide into a small vial, golden, glistening, impossibly fragrant. This is distillation, not just a method, but a transformation, an ancient art rooted in fire and patience, a dance of elements, earthborn plant, fireborn heat, airborne vapor, waterborne return. The story of lavender's oil begins here. In rooms like this, in places where curiosity and care shaped early science, long before laboratories gleamed in sterile white, there were wooden benches, mortar and pestle, and the desire to understand the invisible. Alchemists once sought gold in lead, but they also sought spirit in scent. They believed everything had an essence, a soul that could be drawn out and preserved. Lavender, with its calming perfume, was prized not just for its smell, but for what it seemed to hold inside: stillness, clarity, sleep. You lean closer to the flask, watching the liquid swirl. It reminds you of watching tea leaves steep on, watching clouds form in a summer sky. Everything about the process is slow. Everything invites waiting, and in that waiting, something soft takes shape in your thoughts. The comfort of rituals that are never rushed. Outside the small window, dusk slips into view. The sky turns indigo, and the trees blur gently into shadow. Inside, the distillation continues, the steady rhythm of droplets falling, the scent of lavender deepening into the room. Each droplet is a concentration of memory, of chemical conversation. Inside it are the same molecules once inhaled in Egyptian tombs, in Roman baths, in monastic gardens. Now they are drawn not from field to hand, but from bloom to bottle. And with that shift came something new, a kind of preservation, a way to carry comfort beyond the moment, a way to press pause. You run a finger along the smooth glass of the distilling coil. It feels cool to the touch, despite the heat nearby. You imagine the countless hands that have worked in rooms like this, herbalists in medieval kitchens, perfumers in Parisian ateliers, pharmacists experimenting in early clinics, each one trying to find the point where fragrance meets function, where pleasure becomes remedy. Lavender oil contains compounds, linalool, acetate, that soothe the nervous system. These are not myths or metaphors. They've been mapped and measured, but their effect still feels like magic when diffused. Applied or simply inhaled, they quiet the brain's chatter. They soften the edges of thought, and the scent lingers on the rim of a teacup, in the folds of a pillowcase, or in a small bottle, corked and tucked into a pocket or drawer, ready for a breath of calm whenever it's needed. A soft knock echoes from a distant hallway, and you turn. Someone has entered, quietly carrying a tray with 2 cups of lavender tisane. You take one and hold it near your face. The steam rises, carrying warmth and memory together. The first sip is gentle, a little floral, a little grassy, like the taste of a summer evening. The warmth moves through your chest, loosening you further, as if the scent and the tea were speaking the same language. Around you, the lamps flicker, lower. The room grows softer, dimmer, dreamlike. You close your eyes and listen to the droplets continue their rhythm, a slow, steady lullaby of water becoming oil, of scent becoming soul. Your thoughts float, now, carried on that steam. You wonder about the people who first watched this transformation, how they must have marveled at the idea that a plant's very essence could be captured, kept, shared, that calm could be bottled. Maybe that's what alchemy really was. Not gold, not immortality, but the simple magic of drawing beauty from the ordinary, of distilling peace from petals, of finding stillness one breath at a time. You place your empty cup on the windowsill and lean against the warm stone wall. The scent of lavender is heavier now. Sleep, I-E-R. It wraps around you like a thick wool shawl, warm from a hearth, worn with memory. Outside, the stars begin to press through the sky, and you notice that the air has changed. The windows are open, and a new breeze moves through, one tinged with earth, with stone, with fields. Perhaps the workshop is part of a larger place, a house, home, or maybe it opens to a garden, somewhere not far from here. Lavender grows again, not in glass, but in soil, and hands gather it not to extract, but to harvest, carefully, seasonally, in rhythm with the land. A sleepy smile forms at the edge of your thoughts, because where distillation captures scent, cultivation begins it, and that quiet field, glowing beneath a sun not yet risen, awaits your next step. Lavender Hills and the Art of Farming Sleep. Golden bees hum softly as you climb the sun-drenched slopes of Provence. Here, families harvest scent from soil, shaping entire landscapes into peaceful rituals. From hand-tied bundles to woven pillows, lavender becomes a way of life. Let the breeze and the warm earth carry you into deep rural calm. The hills are painted in purple and gold, lavender in bloom, ripples like a quiet sea across the landscape, each row neat and curved with the land's contours. You walk slowly along a narrow path where the scent of crushed petals clings to your shoes and the soft hum of bees fills the morning air. This is Provence in late July, high summer, high fragrance, and time for harvest. The sun is still low, casting long shadows across the rows. Its warmth has not yet reached its peak, and the air holds a sleepy coolness touched with sweetness. The youngest child, perhaps 5 or 6, trails behind, carrying a bundle nearly as large as her torso. Their laughter drifts through the air, soft and unhurried. This is not factory farming. This is ritual, a dance passed down with the seasons. When to cut, how to tie, when to rest. You breathe in deeply. There is something grounding about this scent, something earthy and honest. It smells like soil and sunlight and stories passed down through hands. You're not alone in this field. Further up the hill, you see a family at work, 3 generations moving in a slow, practiced rhythm. A grandmother with a wide straw hat ties stalks into bundles, her fingers working almost automatically. Nearby, a father and daughter use curved sickles to cut lavender stems at the base, placing them carefully into baskets lined with cloth. Lavender thrives here because the land asks it to be strong. The soil is rocky, the rainfall scarce, but the stress makes the plant more fragrant, more potent, just as people sometimes shine brightest after weathering storms. Lavender blooms its boldest where the ground gives it little comfort. You crouch near one of the bushes and run your fingers gently along the flowering stalks. Tiny buds cluster along the top, soft and silvery with pollen. Each one holds oil in secret chambers just beneath the surface. And as you brush them, that scent, unmistakable, ancient, familiar, rises into the morning air. The bees seem to hum in approval. They are drawn to lavender not just for nectar, but for its reliable rhythm. Unlike more temperamental flowers, lavender offers long blooming periods and stable sweetness. Bees remember this. They return just as humans do, further down the slope. Woven baskets wait in the shade of a stone wall. Some are already full, the cut stems arranged neatly, their pale purple blossoms peeking out like sleeping thoughts. Others are empty, eager for the next armful. Lavender must be harvested at just the right time, early in the day, before the sun draws too much oil away. It is an art of timing and temperature, not unlike baking or tea steeping. The oils are most concentrated when the buds are just opened, not too early, not too late. You sit on a smooth stone and close your eyes. The breeze brushes your face in the distance. Someone begins to hum, a tune as slow and sun-warmed as the hillside itself. Perhaps it is a lullaby sung by habit, or perhaps it is the land itself finding voice in the folds of human memory. Lavender farming is more than cultivation. It is preservation of tradition, of rhythm, of sleep. In this part of France, entire villages mark time by the color of the hills. They know when to harvest, when to dry, when to distill, and they know the end use is not luxury, but comfort. The bundles will be hung upside down in barns and lofts, drying slowly in shadow and breeze. Later, they will be sewn into linen sachets, tucked into drawers and closets. Some will be steamed into essential oils, their scent captured drop by drop. Others will find their way into pillows, bath salts, tinctures, and teas. Each one, in its own quiet way, will help someone sleep. A traveler in a hotel, a baby in a cradle, an elder in a rocking chair near a window. Lavender's purpose continues far beyond the hill. But for now, it begins here, in the bend of your knees as you rest, in the touch of sun on your shoulders, in the whisper of shears cutting stalks. There is wisdom in the repetition each year, the same dot, and yet each year new. You imagine what it must feel like to live among these fields, to rise each morning with the scent already in the air, to eat meals beneath trellises wrapped in vine, to fall asleep with lavender pressed inside a cotton pillow. There are houses here, small and sun-stained, their shutters open wide to the hills, gardens where lavender grows, wild among tomatoes and rosemary porches, where bunches hang upside down beside herbs and wind chimes. A life shaped not around hurry, but around harvest, not around doing, but tending. A life where even rest is prepared gently, thoughtfully. You run your fingers through a full basket and lift a bundle to your face. The fragrance is stronger now, richer. It clings to your skin and stays behind your eyes. It smells like warmth and dusk, like memory braided into evening. You hold it to your chest and breathe in and something inside you stills. Somewhere, a bell chimes, not for alarm, but for pause. Perhaps it marks midday, or a moment of shared quiet. You look out over the field. Once more, the rows ripple like fabric in the breeze, stitched with bees and blossoms and breath. You rise slowly, carrying the scent with you. Your footsteps move in rhythm with the land. You begin to wonder what happens to this scent once it leaves the field. Once the oil is captured, how does it travel, and how does it change the body it enters? You follow the path down the hill, where a small stone building waits with open doors. Inside, glass bottles shimmer on wooden shelves, and a kettle simmers on the stove. Scent, memory, and the science of calm. You drift into your own mind, where scent and memory quietly braid together. Lavender recalls your childhood, your rest, your peace, and scientists now understand why. Brainwaves respond, stress dissolves, and sleep becomes easier to find. Let science and emotion gently meet in the garden of your thoughts. Your eyes are closed now, but you are not quite asleep. You hover in that soft, twilight space where thought feels like mist and the world turns inward. Here, in the quiet garden of your mind, scent moves like a whisper. You breathe in again, and lavender returns, not from a field or a bottle this time, but from within. It arrives as memory, as a feeling so soft. It has no name. Maybe it's the scent of a pillow from your childhood, or a drawer your grandmother opened only in the summer. Maybe it's a warm cloth placed on your forehead when you were unwell, or the first time you let your mind slow in a quiet room, and the air smelled of something floral and kind. Scent is memory's most secret key. It slips past logic and language, unlocking moments that were long tucked away. Unlike words or images, it does not announce itself, it simply is. Inside your nose are millions of receptors, tiny locks, waiting for chemical keys when you inhale. Molecules from the air bind to these receptors. Lavender's key compounds, linalool and linalool acetate, fit perfectly, like puzzle pieces made of perfume. And when they bind, a message is sent, not just to the part of your brain that processes smell, but directly to your limbic system. That's the brain's emotional center, where memories and moods quietly live. The amygdala, the hippocampus, the hypothalamus, these are not just parts of the brain. They are tiny landscapes where feelings unfold, and lavender moves through them like water in a familiar stream. Scientists have watched this unfold in labs. They've measured brainwaves before and after the scent of lavender is introduced, and again, the results show the same thing, a shift. Alpha waves begin to rise, slow, rhythmic waves that signal a relaxed, wakeful rest. Theta waves associated with deep meditation and the border of sleep, increased gently. Cortisol, the stress hormone, starts to lower. Blood pressure softens. The heart beats just a little slower. The breath deepens, as if the body suddenly remembers how to be home. All this from scent, from invisible molecules, moving on breath. It feels like magic, but it's not. It's biology. It's the language your body has always spoken, but rarely noticed. You imagine the scene inside your brain now, like a quiet library in twilight, shelves filled with old volumes of memory, and lavender walking the aisles, barefoot, lighting candles one by one. Your thoughts begin to drift, unanchored and slow. You are not being pulled under. You are being held. You remember a study where patients with insomnia inhaled lavender oil before bed. Many fell asleep faster. Others slept longer, but nearly all described the same thing: a sense of ease, not forced sleep, not sedation, just ease. In Japan, offices diffuse lavender to reduce workday stress. In hospitals, it's used to calm anxious patients, and in homes around the world, it rests beside beds and bathtubs, a quiet companion to rest. You run a finger along the edge of your pillow. Somewhere, lavender lingers, perhaps in the thread, or in the air you exhaled a moment ago. You think of all the times your body has responded to scent without your conscious mind catching up. The smell of rain before it falls, the scent of someone you love lingering in a scarf, the way a forest can calm you before you know why. Lavender is one of many scents that do this, but it is among the gentlest. It does not shout or startle. It does not demand. It simply offers. You picture your nervous system as a stringed instrument, always vibrating, sometimes too tight, sometimes too loose. Lavender walks beside it, fingers light, tuning it slowly until the hum is steady and low. The science is still growing, new. Studies look at how lavender interacts with neurotransmitters like GABA, which slows down signals in the brain, encouraging rest. Others trace its effect on the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest mode that brings the body back to calm after stress. But beyond the data, there is you. There is this moment, this quiet, this breath, and the memory of comfort that rises, unasked, every time lavender drifts near. You think of the pillow on a train that smelled faintly of lavender and lulled you to sleep while the world passed by outside, of a cup of tea shared with a friend, its warmth and perfume dissolving words into peaceful silence, of walking past a garden fence on a summer evening where someone had planted a row of lavender beneath the window. The memories come not in order, not in words, but in feeling, like waves that carry you without urgency, without direction. In this way, scent becomes story, a narrative written not in ink, but in neurons. Lavender is one of its softest chapters, the one you return to when the noise has grown too loud, the one that ends in rest. You imagine a world where scent was our first language, before voices, before song, before fire and wheel, perhaps. A mother knew her child's health by breath alone. Perhaps friends greeted one another with the scent of herbs rubbed into palms. Perhaps calm was taught not in words, but in the fragrant leaves gathered at dusk. You lie down now, fully. The pillow supports your head, your shoulders release, and the bed beneath you becomes part of the earth. Lavender is no longer a field or a bottle or a science. It is a presence. It is the hush between thoughts, the balm between breaths, the hand that reaches without touching. And though the science can measure what it does, it cannot measure why it feels so deeply familiar, why it feels like something you already knew, somewhere deep within your brain. Lavender has braided itself into your idea of peace, and each breath now untangles the knots of the day, the worries, the small sharpnesses, until all that's left is softness. Your mind begins to tilt towards sleep, not as an escape, but as a continuation of scent, of science, of self. But before you fully drift away, you wonder, what other scents shape the world of dreams? What fragrances live at the edge of ancient stories, waiting for their turn to speak in silence? The last petal before sleep. The hills are cloaked in silver, the lavender fields glowing faintly under the gaze of the stars. You walk slowly, each footstep softened by the loose soil, your breath a gentle rhythm in the stillness. There's no wind, only the hush of quiet things, insects bedding down, leaves resting, the world pausing between one breath and the next. You return to the place where it all began, the same field that shimmered under morning sun, but now it is transformed, stems gently swaying in a breeze, too soft to feel. Even in darkness, they offer scent, maybe even more so, as if night draws their essence upward. You run your fingers along a single stalk, careful not to disturb it. The petals feel cool now, cool and patient. You return to the field under starlight, the air cool and slow. A vial of lavender rests beside your bed, a ritual shared across the world. The story is complete, but the scent lingers, soft as breath in moonlight. Let the last petal fall, and follow it into restful sleep. Night has arrived fully now. In your hand is a small glass vial. Its shape is simple, clear and round, with a cork stopper darkened by oils. Inside, a swirl of golden lavender essence glimmers, faintly catching the starlight. You uncork it just a little. The scent lifts slowly, like memory rising in warm water. It fills the space around you. It softens the outline of the world. Lavender oil, distilled and bottled, has traveled far since its ancient origins. From Egyptian tombs to Roman baths, from monastic gardens to apothecaries, and now 2 bedside tables in bedrooms like your own, quiet sanctuaries of sleep scattered across continents. Millions of people Each night, repeat the same small act. Uncap a bottle, place a drop on a pillow, or into warm water, or onto the wrist. Breathe. It's a shared ritual across cultures and time zones, a thread of comfort winding gently through the dark. In Japan, some mothers scent their baby's blanket with lavender before bedtime. In Sweden, lavender sprigs are hung near windows to catch the last light of dusk. In Morocco, it's tucked into linen drawers, perfuming cloth that touches the skin in the quiet hours. In Australia, travelers keep it in their bags, a reminder of home, of grounding. All these gestures say the same thing. Rest is welcome here. You look up. The stars are so many and so still. A night bird calls in the distance, low and clear. The vial warms slightly in your hand, not from the air, but from you, your body, your breath, your pulse. And as it warms, the scent deepens. Lavender's sweetness becomes rounder. It smells now not just of fields, but of something older, a scent closer to the earth, closer to sleep. You remember how sleep used to come easily, like a tide washing up the shore, before clocks, before glowing screens. Messenger from a quieter time. You walk once more along the rows, the scent trailing behind you like a ribbon. Each footstep feels slower, the soil softer, your body less heavy, as if it too is folding inward. And then you see it, a small bench near the edge of the field. You sit, the wood cool beneath you. You lean back, close your eyes. The vial rests beside you on the bench. Uncorked, a single drop clings to its rim. It falls softly, soundless lie, onto the wood, and from it, the scent continues to bloom. Sleep, like scent, is not something to chase. It comes when invited, when the body is ready to exhale, when the mind has found a place to rest. Tonight, lavender has built that place, a room without walls, a field without end. You think of those who harvest the flowers by hand, of those who bottle the oil with care, of those who studied its molecules under microscopes, trying to understand the old magic in a new way. Each one has shaped this moment. Each one has sent a piece of peace forward in time to arrive in your breath tonight. Your eyelids grow heavier, not from effort, but from release. You lie down on the bench. It is narrow, but enough. You are held above you. The stars hold their gaze around you. The scent wraps your body like sleep itself has arms. The world becomes simple. Again, petals, breath, stillness. Somewhere, another drop falls. A new sleeper finds rest. You listen to the quiet as it deepens. The vial beside you is still open. Its story, like yours, is not over, just resting. And as your breath slows, as your thoughts quiet, a final question drifts in light as a lavender petal. What other stories sleep in scent, still waiting to be told in the silence of night? The last petal has fallen. Sleep well, dream gently,